If we go to war with Iran, every bit of that is up for grabs, including our Navy and Air Base there.
A geography lesson would wake a lot of Americans up very quickly. So you can pull this up. This is Google Maps. Figure it out. As soon as you look at the map, you go, now I get it. Iraq, Afghanistan. Two amazing coincidental countries for the U.S. setting up a bunch of military bases in. And Kuwait, where we have a bunch of troops. I wonder why that may be. And what do you think Iran is thinking? Surrounded by U.S. military assets. This has been the plan for a long time. In fact, Cenk Uygur mentioned Wesley Clark. Was that his name?
Yes.
Scott? Yeah. Who talked about the 7 nations the U.S. wanted to invade, and Iran's one of them. Has the U.S. gone after all of them already, or which ones have
Almost.
not?
Okay.
Almost.
So, all right. So it's a great anecdote. People who aren't familiar, you ought to look this up. It's General Wesley Clark. He was the guy that did the Kosovo War for Bill Clinton. He was the Supreme Allied Commander of NATO in 1999. Almost got us all killed in World War III there. Ask me about that anecdote later. But anyway, and this gets right to the neocons and the Israel lobby in the United States. He went to the Pentagon right after September 11th, and an officer said, "General, come here, I want to show you something," and showed him this piece of paper. He said, "This is the plan for a regime change in the new war." He said, "We're going to war with Iraq." And Wesley Clark said, "Iraq? Why would we go to Iraq? They don't have anything to do with September 11th or Al-Qaeda, of course." And the guy said, "Yeah, no, check it out." So the list was, I hope I can get this right. The list was Iraq, Lebanon, by which they meant not necessarily everyone in Beirut, but Hezbollah in Lebanon, Syria, Libya, Somalia, and did I already say Sudan? And Iran, ending with Iran. Well, they did Iraq War II. They failed to do the regime change in Syria. They did Libya. They broke off the South from Sudan. And, there was a regime change there, although I don't know if there was America's sock puppets really that took over or not. But they certainly broke the country in half. And so the only one left is, and Hezbollah still stands. Yeah. And then is Iran. And so, look, this gets to all of Iraq War II. Let's talk about the clean break. Have you ever read the paper, A Clean Break? Or have you ever heard of that? Okay. So, David Wormser is an important neoconservative apparatchik. He was foreign policy advisor to Dick Cheney in the first W. Bush term. And in 1996, when Benjamin Netanyahu was brand new, the first time he was the prime minister of Israel, he came in 96. And David Wormser, Douglas Feith, and Richard Pearl wrote this study. And these are American neoconservatives. It's called A Clean Break, a new strategy for securing the realm. And they wrote it for Netanyahu. And what it says is this. It says, Iran, Syria, and Hezbollah are the threat to Israel, particularly Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, backed by Iran and Syria. And what we want to do is we want to break that chain. And then get this. They said to break that chain, what we want to do is we want to get rid of Saddam Hussein in Iraq. Huh? Saddam Hussein is the minority Sunni dictator sitting on a super majority Shiite population. And Iran and Hezbollah, of course, are these fundamentalist Shiite regimes. So why does it make sense to these neocons to get rid of Saddam Hussein? Well, it was this ridiculous Rube Goldberg scheme that they had come up with. If we get rid of Saddam Hussein...
Who's Rube Goldberg?
Oh, Rube Goldberg is the guy that makes the ridiculous, the mousetrap machine.
Okay,
where it's like 100 little gears turn to make... Yeah, Pee Wee Herman's breakfast, exactly.
The perpetual motion machine.
That's exactly right.
Pee Wee Herman's breakfast.
There's
probably a lot of young people, some Gen Z people like, what?
Yeah, y'all get the Pee Wee's Big Adventure off the Pirate Bay tonight. It's a classic.
It's a great movie.
I think it's probably on Netflix.
Must be. But look, so here was the scheme, okay? The Rube Goldberg scheme was, if we get rid of Saddam Hussein, then we will get the cousin of the king of Jordan to take over Iraq. And because he's a Hashemite with the blood of the prophet in his veins, all the Shiites will just bend over and kiss his bottom and do whatever he says. Which, this is completely crazy. The Shiites don't revere the Hashemites at all. The Hashemites are Sunnis. And even though the Shiites revere the bloodline of the prophet. It's not like they're priests, and even priests and cardinals and bishops don't have like political control over their people directly. So in other words, they were living in this fantasy world.